Hello everyone, happy full moon in Libra, and it's April 7th, 2020, and other locations of full moon high peak will hit on April 8th. Okay, so happy Tuesday and happy Wednesday for wherever you are in the world that this full moon is hitting you. And it's a rough time that we're all going through right now. If you didn't watch the year reading for 2020, please watch it because there's a lot of predictions in there, just a lot of information and so on, okay? So let's get to it. So it's a full moon and it's a super moon, and the super moon holds a lot of power because a lot is being done. This is springtime. This is, you know, when the earth starts giving more food. So this moon is known as a growth moon. It gets its name from different tribes, different people in the past, whatever was growing at the time. Wildflower moon, hare moon, H-A-R-E, rabbits, you know, hare moon. So different names. I like to think of it as aloe moon because my aloe is just like blossoming, growing, you know, and I'm using a lot of aloe these last couple of days. So I love it. So let's look at the different aspects. I wrote down a few aspects and it's going to get pretty lengthy, but you can match up the different aspects with your birth chart. Okay. So I have the charts up. Let's get to it. All right. So let me go back up to the top. So the full moon is when the sun and the moon is opposite each other. So what we want to think about is ourself, which is the sun, and our emotion, which is the moon. So to be in control of our emotions, to utilize any celestial moment, to channel energy, whatever work you want to do, esoteric work, divination work, the full moon reveals things. Whatever was happening on the new moon that led up to now, these last like 2 weeks, things will get revealed, right? Karmic events will come around at the full moon, good or bad, right? So your actions are catching up with you, right? Whether you are aware of it or not. So it's nothing to fear. It's just something to realize, right? And it's a good thing, you know, someone is getting good karma, someone's getting karma that they deserve from their negative actions. It is what it is, okay? It usually happens 3 days before the full moon or right on the full moon. And sometimes it happens like 3 days after the full moon, you know, whatever it needs to be revealed, okay? So it's good to have your own spiritual practice so that you can utilize any celestial energy to focus your energy to achieve a goal or to maximize on achieve a goal or to create or pull in that energy for healing or whatever work you want to do. Okay. So with this, we're going to start with the conjunctions. Okay. So the conjunctions are basically when two planets and points are united and their energy is being used in one action. They're acting as one. They're acting together. Okay. To use it to complete a goal or what have you, right? So they are working together. You can't really tell them apart because they're really acting as one force. Okay, so right now we can look at the moon conjuncts the ascending. Okay, so with this, you can utilize it because it's Libra is in Pisces, the 12th house, and Libra is in that 12th house of I dream, my dreams, my spiritual life, right? So Pisces house of spirituality, which is the 12th house, right? So Libra is in the 12th house at this full moon. So this is a great mental balance time for Pisces. Anyone can tap into this energy. It doesn't matter. We all have the 12 zodiac energies within us represented by our 12 ribs. Okay, that's some esoteric teaching, so we can all benefit from learning from each of the zodiac signs, right? So we want to be adaptable right now. This Libra moon is about being calm, being peaceful, being balanced, and that could be your meditation, but it's also about your mental balance, okay? And that's and you can tap into that spiritual frequency because it's in the house of Pisces, the 12th house. You can get clear dreams at night. My dreams have been very powerful leading up to this full moon. And tap into your spiritual life. All right, let's move forward. So that's it right there. If you have any questions, let me know because this is a Libra full moon and it's a super moon. Okay, Mercury conjuncts Neptune. Okay, they're working together as one. Okay. I didn't really get into the ascending, but look up what the ascending means from the other part, right? You're ascending. All right. I'm just keeping it going. So if you have any questions, do look it up. Do your research. Okay. Mercury conjuncts Neptune. Neptune is very, very spiritual, right? Neptune is Mercury conjuncts Neptune, working together, solving problems. Mystical abilities could be tapped into, meditation and creative work. Okay, Mercury is in Pisces in the 5th house. Neptune is in Pisces in the 5th house. The 5th house of your personal creativity, family, fun, romance. Okay, so that 5th house, 1, 2, 3, is Leo's house. Yes, Leo's house. Yes, Leo. So that's pretty cool. Okay, that's in Leo's house. Now, Mercury is all about communication, right? So it's really going to help you solve any issues that you have. Okay, that is related to your spirituality, third eye work, your imagination, like, really utilizing even the third eye energy. Okay, that's going to be very beneficial. Now, another conjunction is Jupiter conjunct Saturn. So Jupiter is going to give you confidence. Jupiter is about you getting blessings and gifts, okay? But you're going to have to control that powerful feeling that you're feeling if you're connecting to Jupiter at this full moon, right? You could feel too much self-confidence. You could feel too much self-importance. So that's going to be somewhat of a challenge for some people, that if you feel like you want too much attention and you feel like you're seeking outer approval, then you're going to mess up, right? So you want to, this is Jupiter is you thinking of yourself, and you have to be whole before you can be helpful to anyone, right? So you can focus on that Jupiter conjunct Saturn energy. Now, ask yourself, which planet is more dominant for you right now, right? They're working together, but which one is going to be more of your head and which one's going to be more of your tail? But they're still working together. Saturn is going to offer you a forever commitment, because once Saturn is connected to you, it's going to make that investment. Saturn is a very powerful teacher. Saturn is that smart warrior that you want next to you. Saturn has your back, right? So Saturn is in Aquarius in the 4th house. So with that being said, Aquarius is not going to want to put up with anything crazy, right? In Cancer's house, right? So it's not going to want to put up with anything that isn't, I want to say compassionate, but I want to say Saturn being in Aquarius is really going to ask you to really work together for what is right and not just using power. Okay, Jupiter in Capricorn in the 3rd house, in Gemini's house. Okay, so that's where that lineup is right now. And the best thing to do is to utilize both energy of Capricorn, of Saturn and Jupiter. Okay, utilizing both is going to benefit you, and you want to be balanced in everything that you are doing. All right, because if you're not, it's not going to be as beneficial as you would want it to be, right? You got to have both of them working together. Yes, I like that. And you can focus on this conjunction if it relates to your birth chart. Okay, not everyone is going to relate to each conjunction or any other aspects. Okay, Mars conjuncts Saturn. Okay, this is about how you handle challenges and obstacles, right? You're going to feel very passionate to get things done. you're not going to feel as tired as you usually would, because you know that there's something important that you need to get done, and you're going to be focused on that. All right. And this is a great time to pull in on this energy if you want to be more organized, have that it's like you're fighting for yourself, right? The Mars is a fighter. Saturn is a teacher and a disciplinarian, and all about organization, right? So if they're teaming up, they're both very powerful. Mars doesn't like to be controlled by anyone. Saturn already knows he's the boss, right? Or she's the boss, right? So they're both like, if they're agreeing that, you mean, stuff is going down, right? And no one's going to be taking risk at this point, because they're going to be on the same page, okay? And they want that stability, and they want that structural environment to come back. So Mars is in Aquarius in the 4th house. Saturn is in Aquarius in the 4th house. I'm not going to try and define all of the houses, because that's going to take too long, and it's just giving you guys an overview. Now, looking at the trines that's happening right now, the trines is like threefolds or triple, right? And this is like these two celestial bodies are coming together, and they're supporting each other, okay? And it's a harmonious flow, so it's working really good. So with Venus trine Mars, you want to think more of yourself. Venus and Mars are both fiery and fighters. Venus is more feminine fighting, and Mars I like to think of as more masculine fighting. So thinking more of yourself, fighting for others as well. If something is off balance, these two planets will realize it's going to mess up even their stuff, right? So it's very much of a being considerate and kind, But these ones think of themselves more, but they're seeing the greater picture right now, right? And when Venus trines Mars, or Mars trines Venus, they can gather the help that they need. They're very social. They're very attractive in their own essence. So it's like they can really get that attention that they need, right? And the support and the backing, right? But the best way to go about it right now is to be more relaxed in your power, to actually overcome whatever challenge is that you're facing, right? Venus in Gemini's 8th house of Scorpio, and Mars is in Aquarius in the 4th house, okay? And my reading, again, is for Pacific Standard Time, but the energy will apply on a larger scale. So what are you going to be focusing on? What do you want to pull in for yourself at this full moon, right? So looking at your chart and seeing if these planets are in that particular house, you can focus on that part, or you could focus on just a full moon in Libra. Okay, so what's ringing out to you? What do you want to connect to? Now, Venus trine Saturn, this is also another harmonious aspect. So you need to be more responsible for something that's going on in your life right now. You need to be more, even more reserved in your behavior, maybe, to get through something, right? Have faith in yourself. Have faith in what you're doing. Be a little bit more stronger. Be a little bit more stable. In some situations, you might have to be more conventional, right? You want to ask for an opinion of someone that's older and wiser than you, that has experience in this particular field, whatever that is that you need help with. Seek advice, right? Saturn and Aquarius is in the 4th house. Venus is in Gemini, and that's happening in the 8th house of Scorpio. So look into what it is that you are going through. Are you going through something where you should be seeking advice? Then you should be seeking advice from someone that has the experience. That way you can get through this without facing the repercussions of it in the waning moon, or even a waning moon after this coming waning moon, or the very next waning moon, right? So we're having an issue of the whole summer and even into fall, where what you're doing right now, because everything is so critical that's happening right now, is that you have to make sure that you're doing things correctly, okay? MC trines Mercury the communicator, okay? The MC is really about having the spotlight on you, right? And then the spotlight on you is you communicating, right? So this is a time for you to really empower yourself, feeling more intelligent, feeling more smarter, but your talents should match the business that you're doing, right? If not, you got to seek, you got to go back to, you got to tap into Venus trine Saturn and ask for help when you need it, right? So that you communicating to the world and getting that attention on you, either at home or work or public, is going to work out really good, right? So yes, the MC trines Mercury is a great time to pull in on your confidence and your intelligence, your smarts, right? But make sure that what you're doing, it matches your talent. And if it doesn't, then seek help for it, right? Best time for communicating. This is a really good time for communicating because you can communicate for your job, for work, or with the public, right? Now, the MC is in Cancer, which is really focused more on the home, which is very compassionate, but very strong, and is thinking about its life purpose and its goals, right? And it's in the 9th house of Sagittarius. So it's concerned about traveling. It's concerned about the law. It's concerned, there's a lot of religious concern right now, spirituality and faith, and does it equal up to reality, and travel, definitely. So everything that Sagittarius covers, right? Higher education. There's, this summer, after this summer and everything is done, I personally intuitively don't feel like schools will be opening normally in August, some areas school open in September, but there's definitely going to be a huge shift for 9th house issues. Mercury is in Pisces in the 5th house. Okay, great. The 5th house is how I serve others, right? But how I serve my own personal creativity, rather. Okay, and my romance, my children, my fun life, my creativity. That's more closer to home. And right now, all of this celestial activity is happening from the 3rd to the 7th house. As I'm looking at my chart, it's happening all in that. So there's a lot of communication, and you really working on your strengths and asking for help when you need it, and seeking advice from people who have experience in it. This is not the time to be worried about what you look like or what others think about you. It don't matter anyway. You need to get the help that you need to get. And a lot of when someone is not willing to ask for help, it just makes things worse. So before I give you guys another cool focus that I like to use, and I'll get back to the 3rd to the 7th house and all the planetary activities happening in that part of the chart, let's go to the one opposition that I want to focus on, because before that I was focusing a lot on conjunctions first, and then the trines, because those are important, and the opposition. Now, oppositions is about challenging times, hard aspects in astrology. That's what the oppositions are. They focus on challenging times and hard times, and no one likes hard times. That's why I don't like to give bad news, but when I was doing the 2020 year reading, I was like, this is going to be a sick year. A lot of people are going to get sick, and the sickness is in the southern direction. Doesn't mean that the southern direction is bad, but I went into all of that. Like, I did all of that, right? So when you have hard times and oppositions, it's bad. It's not good. But this is where you need to learn how to do something, or, meet that thing head on and handle it the best way you can. And then there's actually good come out of it. You learn how to do something. You move on to a better spot, all of that, right? So these are polar opposite is the opposition. Okay, they're polar opposites. So what do we do? Right? This is your opportunity to shine in a challenge, but not to be a show off, right? Not to make yourself look bad. So the MC, which is where you're getting all of this attention, right? It's like your public persona, your career, your status, right? You taking power, your purpose, your work, okay? Your reputation, right? Your MC is in opposition of Pluto, and Pluto is like, whoo, Pluto is watching everything, right? So with this opposition, MC opposing or in opposition of Pluto, people can find hidden opportunities to achieve their goals or to break through any anything that's difficult. So what are some hidden opportunities that you haven't been looking at? And you can take advantage of that right now to achieve whatever that goal is that you need to achieve. And this is your opportunity to break through that difficult time that you're going through, right? So the negative is that the negative part of this aspect, that's the positive. The negative aspect of this is that people can behave in a very destructive way. And it will only just end up hurting them in a social setting, right? And that makes me want to go back to Venus trines Saturn, right? Which is asking for opinion of someone older than you or someone with more experience. And with that Venus trine Saturn, there's a fear of rejection, right? Because there's a lot of ego there. Because Saturn is a teacher, but teachers always need to keep learning. And Venus is like beauty and like, you know, it just doesn't want to be seen anything less than it is. But there's a fear of rejection for taking the action that you feel is best or for even asking for help. But either way, you got to move forward and gather all your information and move forward and utilize that Venus trine Saturn, right? Now, going back to the MC in opposition of Pluto, this is like the negative part is someone can behave in a negative way, in a destructive way, which can hurt them in a social and hurt their social status. So look at this MC in opposition of Pluto as a time for personal growth, right? It is a time for you to wake up and see things for what they really are and not how you want them to be or how you were trained or thought to think something is, right? So Pluto symbolizes your personal evolution, right? It's that personal growth. Right? So this is your time to have that personal growth time. You have to really see things for what it is. And a lot of people in this life, their karmic experience aren't open to that for whatever reason. They're not, you know, whatever you want to believe. Maybe they feel like this is their role that they have to do in life, or they know that they have to learn, but they have to really overcome it. There's two ways, you know, either they're playing a role that they're supposed to, or they're supposed to be being better, and it's a hard process for them, and they have to come back again and do it. Because Pluto also represents sex, power, death, and rebirth, and we've seen a lot of stuff happening with sex. The karmic effects of that, if it's something negative, right? Power in a negative way, it's getting cleansed right now on the earthly plane because of Pluto in Capricorn, right? Death and rebirth, right? This is also a significant time, and it's up to that person to pay attention and really do the work within, without, around them, or both, right? So it's that personal goal, that personal work. Now, looking at Pluto controls death and rebirth, right? But this is the thing. Is Pluto a planet? Is it not? A dwarf planet? All of that. We're going to say Pluto is a planet. Pluto is sitting all the way in the back, okay? Pluto is sitting all the way in the back. And Pluto is the furthest planet away, right, in our solar system. So it's like looking at everything. It has that full view of everything that's going on. And Pluto rules our darkest realms, right? So the darkest realms doesn't mean it's bad. It's just things that, and it can be bad too, but it's the things that we don't want to face or we don't want to see. We don't want others to see. So Pluto is ruling of our fears, of our secrets, and our need to have control and to have power, right? And that's all getting looked at right now and tested, right? And these actions are all pretty much under review right now, right? So Pluto is in Capricorn until March 23rd, 2023. And it started back in November 26th, 2008, right? Now, Pluto in Capricorn is transforming these energies, these behaviors, these emotions, these actions, these categories that we just mentioned that Pluto governs, right? So Pluto in Capricorn is an earth sign, an earth element, right? And Capricorn is about success and strength. And if success and strength is getting used in the most negative way, Pluto in Capricorn is transforming that energy within that Capricorn, control of this earthly dimension, right? And it's going to make changes where it's needed the most, right? And Capricorn has this great, wonderful aspects to it, but then it also has its negative as well, right? So let's see. I'm pretty sure it's 10th house. Okay, so when you're looking at that, you're looking at all of your goals, all of the goals that you want to achieve, right? So if you're looking at all of these goals that you want to achieve, then that's good. Okay, I have this goal, I have that goal. I'm in my 10th house, I have my goal. I'm a Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn energy, I'm an earth energy. I have my social status, my goals here on earth. And you can have all the goals you want, but then it's how are you going about it? And anything that's been handled and going about in a very negative way is going to get corrected. Anything that is out of balance is getting corrected right now. That's what's happening. And, whenever someone's getting away with something, they're happy about it. They're not worried about it. They're happy as can be. But as soon as they're ready to get in trouble, they start crying. You weren't crying before. I experienced this, beginning of the year. Someone knew that they were doing something wrong. And then they would pretend to someone else like, oh, I don't know what's wrong. I'm trying. It's like, don't cry, because that wasn't the personality that you had when you were dealing with me. You were crying. You were pretty defiant in justifying your actions. You were comfortable with it. You were short and you were comfortable in your communication, right? So it's kind of like when someone's time has come, they're going to act a complete different way. That wasn't your personality when you thought you were winning, right? Or when you were winning, right? So there's a lot to learn here. So in this full moon, the dominant planet for this, the dominant planets that you can focus on, because if all of this, you get it or you feel like it's too much, the dominant element to work with at this full moon is air. And of course, Libra is air, but air is a dominant energy right now, element. Saturn is the dominant planet right now. The second dominant is Venus, and the third is Pluto. Okay? The third to the 7th house has the most planetary action. So you're looking at your partner, other people's partner. There's a lot of issues with other people's partner, your partner. You can look at this as the virus that's going around right now, right? So you can look at it in different ways. Maybe there's other issues that you personally have that is secondary, or just as the prominent, the first major issue right now is the virus for everyone, right? I mean, pretty much, right? So how does, from the 3rd house to the 7th house, all of this attention, planetary attention is there. Partners, other people's partners, relationships, daily life, personal creativity, your inner world. Everything is happening below the horizon. So it's things that you cannot see, but it's still happening, right? So whatever is in your control is in your control. Whatever is not in your control is not in your control. But as a collective, everything is in your control, right? The masses, the more in numbers, and the voice is stronger. So it's time to go into your introspective life, looking at the introspective life, right? Withdrawal, looking within, looking deeper, right? And that's a lot of looking deeper is going to happen all over the summer and all over fall. I mean, it's just going to be a ripple effect of summer, fall, and winter. It's a lot of inner work, a lot of correction of things that should be corrected. So, ask yourself, what do you want to focus on, right? So how can you use this full moon for your own spiritual work or your meditation, right? See what relates to you in your birth chart and also what relates to you right now in your life, right? So how can I use this full moon in Libra, right? What do you want to work on? 3 questions. What do you want to work on? What do you need to work on? And what do you need to know, right? So those are some questions you can ask, right? So then you can see, okay, what do I want to focus on for this full moon, right? So that's all that I got for you guys. It's a lot of information, but the most important thing to realize is that it's a full moon in Libra. The element is air, right? Do you need more air, right? We're dealing with air right now, the lungs. You can look at it and apply it to your life and apply it to either healing, meditation, whatever work you want to do for the full moon. All right. I want to go back to the planets again to narrow it down. Do you need to study and look at what Saturn is? Do you need some Saturn aspect in your life to strengthen your personality, your character, whatever? Venus or Pluto, right? So then you decide how you're going to use this this full moon, right? And the full moon is also in the 12th house of Pisces. So that is very, very spiritual. Libra is in Pisces, right? A lot of dream work you can do. Everything that represents the 12th house, right? Growth. You're using it for your own personal growth. This is the moon of growth, the full moon of growth. All right. Yeah. And the Fortuna is in Aries. I want to mention that. So it's like prosperity and money. So if you are an Aries, do some prosperity work, right? And the prosperity work is in the descending. So you might not see it for right now, but you're setting the tone. You're setting the tone for your growth, right? And by like, middle of fall, things are getting good. End of fall, things will get better. Winter, things will get better, but still have that energy of what we're experiencing right now, which is cleansing us and taking care of ourselves and new ways of doing things and protecting our physical body and our mind. So, someone said to me, isn't it so good that we have our own personal practice right now, right? Of meditation, fitness that keeps us in balance, mind, body, and spirit. So if you're an Aries, definitely do some prosperity work. And if you're a Libra, you're opposite of Aries. So you can benefit from that prosperity work using the Fortuna. Okay? Aries, you have Chiron, you have Lilith, you have the Sun, you have Fortuna in your sign. Okay? That's really good. Pisces, you have Neptune and you have Mercury. That's really good. Aquarius, you have Saturn and Mars in your 4th house. Capricorn, you have the IC, you have Jupiter, and you have Pluto. And that's in the 3rd house. And you also have the South node, because Cancer has a North node. Sagittarius, you're in the 2nd house. No planets. Scorpio, you're in the 1st house of Aries. Libra, you already know you're in the 12th house. You have the ascendant. You have the full moon. Work that. Virgo, you're in the 11th house. No planets. Leo, you're in the 10th house. Okay, work that. Capricorn, you have the MC. You have the North node. You're in the 9th house. Gemini, you're in the 8th house. You have Venus. Okay? I'm going around, guys. I'm going around. Taurus, you're in the 7th house. You have Uranus. Yes, I'm correct. It's Uranus. Like remembering all the symbols when I'm like trying to download at the same time. Okay, back to Aries. Aries, you're in the 6th house. Okay, you're in the descending, the sun. This is your birth season. You have Lilith. Okay, but yeah, the sun is in the 6th house for you. Lilith is in the 6th house. Chiron is in the 6th house. The Fortuna is in the 7th house, though, but still in Aries. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm correct in my chart. What's that? Pisces. Okay, and I already did Pisces. Pisces has come on, Pisces. Pisces has Mercury in the 5th house. Pisces has Neptune in the 5th house, right? So I gave you guys all of that information. Okay, so the element to work with is air. You can light an incense, and fire and air, they're opposite elements that work well together. They're the perfect elements. So you can light an incense and set your intention and let the wind carry your affirmation, right? Because the negativity carries through the wind, right? I'm just coding. I'm talking in codes, right? So then you have to, it's kind of like in Chinese medicine. I was talking to a really good girlfriend. You have to attack like with like, hot with hot, cold with cold. So, man, I don't want my video getting locked. Okay, right? So attack like with like. So you can't always use good to attack something negative. You have to use negative to attack negative, right? So you got to do your works, air, right? Just light those incense, So you use your word. Use your words, right? Let it travel through the air. So do your work, do your blessings for yourself. So that's the video. It's going on pretty long, but I'm going to go do my meditation video right now. I thought it would be longer than this, but happy full moon in Libra. I hope this was informative for you guys. And leave some comments, leave some questions, and I will see you next time. I'll try and have these videos up earlier. Happy full moon in Libra.